Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we're going to be talking about something very personal. We're going to be talking about my progress through transitioning and kind of an update on that a little bit and sort of where things are. Also, if you're wondering why the background's slightly different on that side of me, the flag is no longer on the wall because the hooks that held it up came off the wall. So, fun. But yeah, that's why the background's a little bit different in this one. But yeah, let's jump on into the video. So, if you're an alien from another planet, or if you're just coming to grips with this type of culture for the first time and are wondering what I'm going to be talking about, transitioning is a process that trans male and trans female, as well as maybe gender non-conforming people, may wish to go through to cope with their feelings of gender dysphoria and help them feel comfortable in their own body and skin and identity. That's on a basic level, just for context. Like I said, if you're new to hearing about this type of culture, this type of thing being talked about, and again, like I said, this is specific to my process through transitioning and my thoughts and feelings about that process so far. So a bit of background. A long time ago, back when I was 17, 18, after I finished college, I was not moving straight into university for a number of reasons. I was also not working either. So basically I had a lot of free time to sit with my thoughts. Part of that led to me being in a very depressive state because I had time to actually process and deal with things that were traumas in my past, and that with nothing else essentially going on in life. But also the other part of that was I had time to actually sit down and figure myself out and figure out my identity and that sort of stuff. And learn about new concepts, which one of those was this idea that, hey, trans people exist. It's part of human culture, it's part of human identity, and doing more research and discovering more about it, it was around about then I had that moment where I was like going, oh my god, that's me. I now have a word for how I've been feeling in these things that have been on my mind for the last 4 years or so at that point, and things that I was starting to become aware of. And it was finally being able to put things into a box where it felt like it belonged. And then after a long struggle with sort of other issues with being autistic and building confidence socially with people, and that I came out in 2016 to my family, I think around Christmas 2016, the end of the year, and then a year later in 2017 publicly, and that which was the start of the very long road of transitioning. At first, coming out was really hard because of other issues I've had with people. It never felt safe facing it head on or being comfortable enough to communicate things directly. So it was like coming out in a cryptic way, which in hindsight is probably something that hasn't helped at all, but it was a time where I needed to scream something about myself, but just didn't have the words or the means to express it, because with not being at university or not being in a working environment or anything, just kind of being on my own for so long, just communication skills and all of that kind of weren't at the best practiced, which is not very great for someone with autism to deal with. So it was a rough process. But coming out was something I felt I had to do, and I was kind of forced into doing, because I needed to start this road to transitioning to feel kind of, complete with myself and all of that, and be able to be comfortable with myself. But I needed people's help with it because of being autistic and communications issues with people and all of that. So either way, I had to go through this whole trying to communicate something about myself with having shit social skills at the time, and the complete inability to find words or sentences to describe what I was feeling to people, and that. And it didn't help on top of that, at the time, because of all of this stuff and what I was dealing with, I started to get a lot of anxiety about things and social interactions, and as I said as well, with being able to deal with other events in my life, the depression setting in as well. So those things on top of all of that really didn't help with the process either. But again, it was one of those things where it's like I had to do it, I had to approach it, so I could have people hopefully in my corner helping me to start the journey that I needed to start with myself. Upon coming out, I got told I was still loved and accepted, and upon coming out, I got told I was still loved and accepted, and I had help with getting some initial appointments and referrals through, but that all changed down the road with time. Minimal efforts being kind of put in to stop using dead name and pronouns and stuff within the 5 years or so since coming out. And the only time there's kind of really minimal effort in this regard is Christmas, birthdays with cards, and even then they're only initialed and not with the full name written out, or people even using pronouns, which in hindsight is something I really shouldn't be surprised by, because when it was known a year or so before I came out that I liked My Little Pony, the current generation at that time, Friendship is Magic, and that show, because of the quality and whatever. But when that came out, I was essentially told in no certain terms that it's okay that I like that show as long as I wasn't gay, which I still to this day remember quite clearly. As far as medical referrals have gone, at this current point in time, I don't have much hope for ever starting it. Prior to COVID-19 and prior to the pandemic, the waitlist is about 2 years, or was about 2 years waiting. I've been waiting now for 5 years with no communications since the first year. I have a feeling that when I started studying and when I started university and I had to move my GP down from where I lived prior to the city that I'm studying in, I have a feeling that either straight flat out cancelled the appointment because of conflicts between two different GPs and one GP not wanting to cover the treatment and the referral, or some other type of bureaucracy. And because of that point starting full-time studies and intense studies, being a film student and being expected to do stuff in the classroom and theory side of things while also doing intensive practical sides as well. I have no fucking time to chase up bureaucracy. And honestly, I shouldn't fucking have to either, because there were times when we did have communication that I was giving multiple time frames where I could potentially expect an appointment to be, but nothing was ever delivered upon that or anything. So having had to wait 3 years longer than expected, I really don't see ever starting medical transitioning, at least not in this country, not in the United Kingdom. In the 5-ish years I have been out, the only part where I feel like there has been any progress with transitioning and not slamming into a wall of difficulty is socially with friends. All my new friends only know me as Phoebe and are so respectful of my identity, and to that I'm so grateful for. And also all of the friends that knew me before, adjusting to the new identity caused 0 issues, 0 frictions, 0 fights with people, which I'm also grateful for. But yeah, that is the only area where I feel like I've been able to make progress. I think everywhere else, family, medically, even being able to properly experiment with expression and stuff a lot of the time, I feel like all of that kind of slammed into a wall of difficulty with some of the people and some of the things that I've had to deal with. But where does this leave me with my feelings? Honestly, very divided. I have one environment with friends where I can be myself and I can be happy and not filter who I am. But I have a second where I feel it's restricted and I can't experiment and I can't try new things or styles or approaches to complement my discoveries about identity and that. And I can't quite be myself with. I also feel like I have to choose prioritizing studying and my future and being able to put myself in the best position as possible to work in a field I would love to work in that's very hard to get into with the film industry and media industry in general, or spend my time chasing up medical red tape which no one should ever have to deal with. You shouldn't be barred from anything like that, and it shouldn't be difficult to access anything like that. So yeah, I feel very divided on things and very conflicted with a lot of it. But hopefully, as I continue to go down this road, I can get over some of these hurdles. But for now, everything still looks like it's a very long way away and a very, very difficult thing to achieve and get through. I don't think there's a right comedic segue that can be said here, but I know this has probably been a very heavy video. It was certainly very difficult to write this and get all my thoughts clear and that, so yeah, but I think probably the next few might be on the lighter side of things before we continue on with these types of videos. But thanks to everyone who's stuck around this far. You can keep up to date with my antics on my socials at PhoebeRoxz on Twitter and Instagram. Also, you can join in the wonderful Team Phoebes community on our Discord server, all linked in the description. Also, you can catch me live on Twitch most days of the week, streaming a variety of games and variety content over at twitch.tv/PhoebeRoxz. But yeah, I will see you in the next one.